Well, hello again folks. Today I'm looking at the MS170, doing some upgrades, see how these upgrades affect performance. We're going to be looking at changing the bar to a 12-inch bar and a new chain, adding a tunable carb, doing a muffler mod, buck and claw or whatever they're called on the side, adding some timing to it.
Another mod that is not performance, but it's more of a usability mod, is changing this from a front to a side chain tensioner.
All the parts will be in the bottom of these videos, so let's get going, working on our bar upgrade. The first thing we want to do is have a benchmark set, so we can, we're actually going to be cutting some cookies each time I do an upgrade, and just to see if there's a real difference in performance. So let's first sharpen the chain. Alright, let's start. Let's do the first cuts with the old bar and old chain that's just been freshly sharpened. So let's change out the bar. This is a nice straightforward upgrade that anyone can do. Alright, so here's the new bar. It's a Holtzform, just a little 12-inch bar. You can see the difference between this one. Definitely is like a solid 4 or 5 inches less.
2-3 inches. 4 inches.
That's easy, 4 or 5 inches. And the only other difference I can see, these both have a riveted spinning nose piece. This one has holes for greasing it. Other than that, it looks to be pretty much the same. See the oilers line up nicely. Here's a new chain. The only difference is it's a full chisel chain. This was just a regular, I think a Pico chain. This definitely is a more aggressive chain, but it's a smaller bar, so we'll see if that makes a difference. And it is brand new, so you know what, this first comparison isn't a complete apples to apples comparison, but this will give me a good starting point for the rest of the upgrades. The stock tightening screw is right here. Watch the chain get tighter. It's more of a pain to tighten than if it was at the side. Oh, it's still very loose. Still weird to tighten up more. That's looking better. So whenever you tighten your bar, always pull it up, because as you cut, you're pressing down on it, right? You pull it up, take out any slack up. That way the bar is as high up as it can go. Hopefully this can cut it. Barely. It's already warmed up. Already. That's definitely a good improvement. And if you just need this for cutting small stuff, this thing's already becoming a bit more of a mean little machine. I'm looking forward to doing the other upgrades on it and see what we can really make this thing into.
So up next is the side adjuster, the bucking spikes, and giving this saw a really good overall clean. So I started installing the side adjuster, but everything is so dirty, I kind of got sidetracked, and then I started cleaning this area of the saw. And then I got more sidetracked, and I started cleaning the whole saw. So I'm just going to speed that up. It'll be maybe half a minute or a minute of me cleaning the saw. And there's something satisfying about having a grimy, dirty, sawdusty saw look nice and clean and kind of newish.
Alright, let's put on this bucking strip. It looks like I ordered the wrong size screws, but I have some other screws here that should work, and so we will go with them for now. And I will look at ordering the right screws after.
So back to the side adjuster. You can see I took the original one out before I cleaned the saw. It has its adjustment screw at the front of the saw, which can be awkward to adjust.
Here's the little part that changes it from a front screw, which would have been right there, to a side screw. And all you have to do is order this part. You don't have to do anything else. It fits in there nicely, because if you look at this, boom, it's right there. You're done. Nothing else. Now, it comes with this little plastic part here too, which covers up the front for you. And actually it snaps in there nicely. So after you put this in, there's a little screw that's got to go in there. Now you got your nice little adjuster on the side. Alright, today we are going to look at doing a muffler mod to this muffler, or just replacing it with a freer flowing muffler. But first, let's fire this thing up and see how loud it is. Alright, this is just a 5/16. So taking off the muffler gives you a good chance to see the condition of the piston and see if it's scored or not. I think that one is stuck a little. Don't want to force anything. Let's take the cover off. There we go. You can see the piston in there. So what you do is you pull it up and down, and you can see the piston going up and down, and you'll also see if there's score marks on. It should just look nice and smooth. Here's the screen. Actually, if you look at this one, it looks slightly clogged, so even just taking out the screen and cleaning it is a good thing to do every once in a while. Looking at this muffler, it's fairly free flowing. It goes straight through here, out through here. We're going to take this muffler apart and see if we can make it a little freer flowing. Alright, so here's the muffler. 3 parts, but it forces exhaust through there, and then it can go up straight and out through there, but it can also go down and around that way. This is the biggest restriction. Maybe drill that out as well. I don't think I'm going to be doing anything to the inside. I've seen other ones where they're all baffled, but this looks fairly free flowing. So I think the key is holes here and open up these front baffles. I'm going to drill this out, and then we will be opening these louvers a bit. That's minimal. That's a small hole for all the exhaust to come out of. I don't know if I said this before, but if you don't have a step bit, get one of them. They're one of the handiest tools. Alright, let's work on this. I'm going to first try just opening it up by prying it. Oh, looks like I'm bending this thing a little too much. Let's flatten that back out. See how this will fit on here now. I think I just got to bend it a little straight again. One of the best tools in your workshop is getting a good vise. I just had to get this one because I had a cheaper one and it lasted me 10 years and it finally came apart and I wanted a new one, and this just gave me the excuse to get a little better one. It wasn't even that crazy expensive. I'll put a link to it. If you can get a nice heritage vise like a snap-on at a yard sale or garage sale, that's your best bet, but they're hard to find. That looks better. Let's start it up, see if it's any louder. Done the muffler mod. Let's see if that makes any difference.
The next upgrade is going to be an adjustable carb. This can be useful after making your muffler free or flowing and or changing the timing on your saw, among other things.
So I've never really worked on this Stihl before, so this is going to be a little bit of a learning experience. I haven't really looked at any manuals, but generally it should be pretty straightforward. There we go, let's get that out of the way. Now this linkage, what if I... that's it, I just have to pop it down. Oh, there we go. Oh, easy there, Vince. Don't want to wreck this. Alright, so let's compare the old and the new. This is a Stihl branded, this is made in China. H and an L, there's your low and high jets. And if you look at this carb, they're right in the same location. They're not really adjustable. If I look in there, I can't really see a tool that's going to be able to adjust it.
So this is another opportunity to look at the condition of the piston, except from the intake side.
So I don't know if you can see, the piston's going up and down, but you can't see really any score marks. So
I then realized with this aftermarket carburetor that the linkage could not be installed on the carburetor once the carburetor is mounted. So you have to take the handle apart to get the linkage out, put it on the carburetor, slide the carburetor on, and then put the handle back together.
now we'll slip the carb on. And this goes like this. Working. And we just need the little return spring for this part. And then on there. Alright, so if you're working on these saws, I would get a good pair of Torx screwdrivers. I got these ends, which are fine, but you're always switching, and I think if you just had a dedicated set of, you know, the main T20, 25, and 30, it should be pretty good, or just get a full set. And I think actually, this has to tuck underneath. So I should have done that first.
So this meant that the carb had to come back off, which meant the linkage had to come back off and handle, get the wire back under the carb, then button it all back together. So the next problem was with this linkage. When I would hit the throttle, I wouldn't get full throttle, it'd go 3/4. So I tried different things, lengthening the rod, but that just gave me more and more grief. Basically what would happen is the rod would hit the bottom choke bar that's going across the bottom. Another problem with bending it, it would just end up giving me about 1/4 throttle to full throttle. So basically it was somehow limited to about 3/4 of the throttle range. So it could either go from 1/4 to full throttle or kind of idle, 0 throttle, to 3/4. So I messed around with this for a while and then I came up with a different solution.
So here you can see the stock throttle linkage, and you see right here it has slops. So I took it out. I had a small Robertson screw. It was a little bit wider than what it was needed, so I drilled the plastic out just a little bit, and then I screwed this in. So now you can see with it in, and you see there's basically no slop. And now when I pull it, it's right away full throttle, and there's minimal. There's a tiny bit, but minimal. That basically gave me the full throttle range from idle to full throttle. And you know what? If I'd done that straight from the start, it would have saved me probably a couple hours of monkeying with the throttle linkage itself. All right, so you can see this actually even comes with adjustment holes in the air box. So let's drill some holes to it right here. Widen it just a little. To get at the idle, I have to go right through this plastic. I need a bigger bit though. There we go. All right, let's see if we can get it going. I think we got gas. Give it a little bit here. Sputtering. I don't know if you watched one of my other chainsaw videos where I'm trying to start and I forgot to turn it on. You know, that can get you sometimes. Today was I was out of gas. I put it on the bench and I was putting a little bit of carb cleaner. I'm fussing with the tuning screws. And then I looked and it's like not showing any gas. I feel foolish, but if that's all it is, then I'm happy. Up one. Okay, now we're gonna do the cut with the new carburetor. I don't think it's gonna make any difference, but we're gonna give it a try. Can you start it? 2 hands. Oh, let's try again. I'll hold it better. Yeah, put your foot there, perfect. Oh, good job.
Two grinders.
Yeah.
Both 6 amp for $50 at Lowe's.
Oh.
Lowe's magazine. 2 grinders for $50.
Oh, that's a good deal. All right, so now we're working on adjusting the timing. This is an upgrade that is probably not for everyone. It's probably relatively easy to wreck your saw. Hopefully we don't do it today. So let's see if we can get this out without locking up the cylinder. It's a 1/2 inch. There we go. Keep from getting dunked in there.
So to take off the flywheel, you first need to thread the nut back on, put on a socket and extension. So you want to lift up on the flywheel and then tap down on the socket.
That did it. So you have to give it a good sharp whack. There's probably a lot more experts than me, but the way the timing works is as this turns around, it goes past the magnet, which signals when to shoot the spark, which is basically the idea is when the piston is about top dead center. And that's all set from the factory.
So by rotating the flywheel a few degrees counterclockwise, the magnet on the flywheel passes the ignition coil sooner, which in turn signals the spark to fire sooner, effectively advancing the timing.
These saws, MS170, I've been told, can use a little bit of a timing advance. So the way to do that, you can see you have your keyway right here. You can look at it this side as well. You file down the leading edge. So remember, this turns this way, the leading edge of that keyway. That way this can turn a little bit further. That gives you a little bit of advance. The research I've done, people do between 1/3 and 1/6 of the width of this keyway. I'm just gonna start real small and then we'll go from there. So of course I forgot to start recording. It's frustrating, but all I did was take this file and filed on the leading edge. So let's put this back on. This is stock. This is advanced. So you can see how much. Now you want to make sure that it's nice and smooth. If it's grabbing, you might have to do a little more cleaning up in there. See how it slides back and forth nice and smooth? Then you know the seating surface is fine.
So I put a rope inside the cylinder head with a piston at bottom dead center just to hold the piston from moving up and down while I tightened the flywheel nut onto the crankshaft.
Alright, so now, there we go. Now I'm going to tap this just to seat it, and I'm going to keep pressure on it while I tap it. And now we can put the nut on. All right, it's seated back down. Let's take it off. Now if we look carefully, we still have our timing advance, so that worked. So let's put this back together. I don't know if you're allowed to take a chainsaw spark plug out with any other tool than this. I don't know if you're allowed to. There might be a law against it. You don't think that's a law?
No.
Oh. Alright, let's see if we need to do any tuning. Let's hope it still starts. Sounds fine. I'm just going to leave it as is and do some cuts. Alright, this is the final mod. Alright folks, that's the last upgrade I've done. I don't know the time on it. I'll post the times and we'll go from there. So this is a nice little saw now, putting out a little more power. It seems like it's cutting quicker. If you own one of these saws and you just use it a couple times a year, an easy upgrade would be the bar and a chain. The other easy upgrade is the side tensioner, and another easy upgrade is the front muffler. If you do those three things, you're going to be happier with your saw. If you're really into saws and modifications, the carb upgrade, well, I'm not sure if it helped yet. I got to check those numbers, but I think it did. And then the timing. Now the timing is, I'm putting a disclaimer here. You know, do it at your own risk. You know, if you do what I did and it blows up, I'm not responsible. Just a little sneak peek. This is the other project that's happening. I don't know if you've seen the other trailer video, but I'm totally going over this trailer one last time. It started with just some bearings and it turned into this. So I imagine within a few weeks we'll have something on that. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please.
Wait.
Okay. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please press the like button, the notification button, the subscription button, and all the other buttons that you can press